Hi friends, today I'm doing a part one of a three-part series on a new updo. So I wanted to talk about some of the basic elements that we do in every updo and teach you as I'm actually working on an updo. So I've got my prep, I've got my sectioning down, and these are things that I talk about in depth on a lot of my videos and in my courses as well. But you can see that we're sectioned out, and today for part one, we're just gonna be working on the back and getting the waves down. And then we're gonna work on the top, and then we're gonna pull around the front. So that will be part 1, 2, and 3. So to get started today, I'm gonna divide the back of her hair into 3 equal sections. And we are gonna create just a really lovely soft wave. So I've already brushed through it. And now the next thing I'm gonna do here is I'm creating a section at the bottom. And one thing that you want to do if you are gonna be creating really a consistent curl or wave pattern is make sure you have nice, even sections. So I use my tail comb to make sure I had a nice clean line. And then I'm gonna clip this up and then I'm going to get to some curling. So I'm gonna use my favorite hairspray, which happens to be Bedhead Masterpiece. And I swear it used to be flexible hold. Now it's just a little bit harder, but I'll tell you what, I still find it to be very flexible and very workable. So I still really like to use it for prepping hair. So I've brushed through using my 3-row comb here, which I love. And then I'm gonna use this 1.5" curling iron, and I'm taking about 1.5" or so sections. And I'm gonna make curls that are vertical and not super, super tight. Now I'm gonna let you in on a secret. This is a new curling iron. It is long. And I wanted it for long hair, but I'm so used to using the curling irons that I've used for years that I'm finding this to be awkward and a little challenging, and I have to really hold it well with 2 hands so I don't get burned. So I'm finding it to be a little clumsy, and after doing wedding hair for like 17 years or so, 18 years, it's funny to feel clunky, but here we are, it's a new tool, doing what I can. Okay, so I am working on my waves here by creating 3 sections of curls. I'm gonna show you what these look like. Let this get out of the way. My mannequin head needs a good washing. Okay, so I've got 3 curls here that I'm just gonna let be. I'm not gonna do anything to them except for use a little spray wax over the top. And why I like to use a spray wax or a texture spray is to locking in the curl without it being stiff. Okay, now I'm gonna do the next one. So I'm taking the equal amount that I did here up here, dividing this in half, so I have 3 equal sections. If you're working with someone who's got really, really thin hair, then you could probably get by with 2. If it's really thick, then you probably want to do 3 or 4. So a lot of the deciding factors of how many sections to take, how big of sections to take is based on the hair density, how thick they are. Siri's listening to me. And you'll make the call based on the person's hair. All right, so I'm brushing through this section and we're gonna do a little hairspray. Now my number 1 tip for hair that's really, really resistant to curl is do 1 section at a time. Hairspray, comb through, curl. Hairspray, comb through, curl. Hairspray, comb through, curl the whole way. But for time's sake, and because her hair curls fast, I'm spraying it all once, combing through once, and now I'll go through and curl. So that is a speed thing that I'm doing, not necessarily a technique thing. So now I'm gonna come over here and I wanna make sure I'm still doing the same long vertical curls here. And I'm holding it close to the head so I kind of keep the same curl pattern that I've got at the bottom. Like I said, I'm still a little awkward with this one. It doesn't walk through as clean as my other ones do. Forgive me. Another tip that I have for you is to make sure you are always standing directly behind your curl, and that will help you get curls that are very even. If I stand over here, it's gonna pull a little bit, and that is gonna take away from the even curl pattern that I'm going for. So I'm gonna walk this through. One thing that sometimes newbies ask me is how hot to have it, the curling iron. And right now is a good example. I bumped this all the way up to 430. I'm gonna bring it down to 360 because my mannequin has hair that is like, you know, super treated. You can see it's bleach blonde. It's been through the ringer. And so it's gonna hold a curl well. So I don't have to have the heat up that high to get the curl that I'm looking for. On hair that hasn't been treated, that's really thick, that doesn't hold a curl well, you probably wanna go a little bit higher. This might be an unpopular opinion, but you know, people say we don't wanna damage hair. And no, you don't wanna damage it, but this is typically a one-time event. We are not doing, you know, these high heat curls day in and day out. And so you're not putting that same kind of wear and tear if you were putting a 400-degree curling iron or flat iron on your head every day. We're doing it one time for the big day, okay? So we can go a little bit more intense so we have that longevity. We got my last one over here. So you can see I'm just moving around with the curls as I go, and that will ensure that my curls stay even, my curl pattern stays even when you're going for a more uniform curl. When you're going for more of like a boho beachy look, it's fine. It's not that important, but when you want to have a uniform curl, you got to make sure you are standing behind it. Now I'm going to finish with the wax spray. Wax spray is a little stickier than texture spray, and so it holds really nicely, which I love. If you don't need to have that much of a hold, you can use the texture spray. I'm also someone who isn't loyal to one specific brand. I say find the things that work for you, experiment with things. You'll find products that you love, and the more updos that you do and the more products that you have and try out, you'll find out what you use them for. So what I'm doing here is for this section, I'm combing it down so to make sure it's laying all how I want it to go. Something that will help your hair stay frizz-free and stay really clean as you work is if you lay out the hair like I'm doing right now over where it's gonna lay when you curl it. So if I just kind of haphazardly brush through this and I don't take in consideration where it's laying on the head, then I tend to have to move it around more, and what that does is creates more frizz. And people are always looking to have smooth updos, and they're looking to have frizz-free updos that are neat and clean. That is a question that I feel like I see a lot. And by working slowly, working carefully, making sure that you are putting the hair in the place where you want it to go before you even add the curling iron to it, that will help you ensure that you have nice, nice frizz-free, clean updos. Now, something else that I'm doing, and I talk about this a little more in my Updo Foundations course, is the section that I'm taking here. If I just take it like this and go in with the curling iron and pull it up, I'm gonna get not as much lift as I could right here. But by using my fingers or the comb to pull it out away from the head and then come in with my curling iron, I'm gonna get much more of a natural volume that's pulled away from the head in a nice, neat and even fashion, and keeps the curls kind of even all the way throughout. So I'm consistently pulling it away from the head before I curl it, and that's gonna bring in a little bit more natural volume than if I just pulled it without doing that lift. Now, if this person wants like zero volume, then yeah, you don't wanna lift it up away from the head like this, you just wanna hold it down. But I wanna have a little bit of lift to it, so I'm pulling it out like this with my fingers. When you're working with somebody who's got like that very thin hair, but it's thick and it flies away, and every time you touch it with your hands, it like goes up, then you wanna use your comb with hairspray on it to brush through to bring the hair forward, not your fingers, because that's gonna make it just filled with flyaways. So what I would do, I'll just give you an example here, is I would take this section that I want, I would take my comb, spray hairspray on it, and then I would comb through with my comb like that, and then I would come in with my curling iron. So then I'm minimizing how much my fingers are touching the hair, and when you minimize how much your fingers touch the hair, then you can really minimize those flyaways and that frizz. So that's just a good tip for working with someone with that type of hair. I live in Minnesota, I'm in the Midwest, and I encounter that hair type a lot. So I don't know if that is a Midwestern thing or if I've just been lucky, but that is something that I deal with all the time. And people who have really, really fine hair. So really fine hair, we gotta be careful with that too, because too much product, too much touching, it can just look frizzy, messy, not be very good. So you can see I'm still working around. I'm walking with my curls. So I'm directly behind it and pulling it towards myself, and that's gonna ensure these really nice even curls. Okay, so what I'm gonna do from here now is I'm gonna break these up with some Tame Wild in my fingertips. So this is an anti-frizz cream, and I just use, I don't know, not even a dime size amount. Rub it on my fingers, and now I'm gonna comb through with my fingers. And it's a little tricky because she has no head control, but I'm just kind of breaking these curls up lightly with my hands. And I don't like to break the bottom ones up too much. And the reason is because they aren't gonna be seen, but they're gonna be providing good support for the rest of the hair. So by breaking up the top, you get kind of that waved look that's really beautiful. But the bottom lasts a little bit longer. So I don't tend to break up the bottom as much as the top. And then once you've got this how you want it, so I see I kind of want this broken up a little bit more. So you might need to grab a little more of the Tame Wild. Then you can use more spray wax. I just grab on the interior and hold that up. And that kind of locks it in with some good bounce and texture without making it really stiff. So we'll spray it at the end, but right now this is a nice frizz-free kind of uniform wave, and then I can start to bring down the top to work on my next section. So this is how to get that really nice, beautiful frizz-free wave at the bottom, and this is step one. So I will see you guys next week for part 2, where we work on this top section and how to bring that down in a really nice, smooth way without having any frizz. Lots of nice volume and looking good. So thanks for joining me, and subscribe so you can get updates. Otherwise, just bop back in your YouTube channel, and I'll see you next week.